president of... Mis amigos migrantes, pues aquí estoy. Total catastrophe, and it is a crisis. Of a child, right there. All these NGOs, you're fake. It is this, the crisis of children.
Thank you so much for joining in. I'm Oscar Blue for Real America's Boys News. It is nice to talk to you guys on this evening of Friday, November 24th of the year 2021. Nice to talk to you guys. A couple of topics that we want to discuss today that I believe that they are extremely important to talk about, and to ultimately not only that, but to particularly relate to what happens with open borders. And, you know, this is the reality that we're living. You can do whatever crime you want, but according to the leftists, the Marxists, the imperialist left, the intolerant left, you can commit whatever crime you want, whatever the hell you want. But if it is justified by their agenda, it is okay. It is justified by their agenda, and it is okay. I'm telling you this. Why I'm telling you this? Because it has happened before. And what it just recently happened in Dublin, in what the press is doing, it is just disgusting. It is just exactly what the United States did with the transgender shooter, that instead of focusing on the character and on focusing on the guy that did a massive shooting and that he completely destroyed lives, took away lives, and he planned it disgustingly, the United States press focuses on what the right wing they're doing, what the agenda of the oppressed, why he was so oppressed to do that. This is a murder. This is a guy that took away lives, and it is exactly what's happening in Dublin. Now, the riots, the lootings, what's happening right now in Dublin are not justified. They are not justified at all. Nothing that creates violence, it is justified. Everything can be controlled and everything can be, in a way, managed. This is how it looks right now in Dublin after these riots. But let me just explain what I'm talking about Dublin. So apparently the versions of what they're talking about, it is that an immigrant, and they don't know. Now it relates to information. First, they saying that it was a Nigerian immigrant stabbed children at a park. That was the first version that came out. These are some articles, and I want you to see why all of these articles, they're not even concentrated. They're not even concentrating on the aggressor. They're not even concentrating on the person that basically stabbed children. They're concentrating on the riots and on men that they are not comfortable with what just happened. And the narrative of the left and the media, it is the extremist, the anti-immigrant, the this, the that. Do you know how many people have died in the United States because of an undocumented individual crossed the border between Mexico and the United States, rode a vehicle violently with smuggling people and crashed into an innocent life, and that innocent life, it is lost because a non-documented coyote trafficker went over the border and completely crashed another car? Do you know how many times that's happened? But that, for the leftists, it is racist, xenophobic, transphobic, homophobic, pronoun-phobic, fat-phobic, conspiracy theorist, racist, fascist, narcissist, and bigot, and a Zionist. This is an article. Let me just give you the first article. This is Newsweek, and look what it says. It says Irish police are questioning an Algerian, not Nigerian, Algerian man that is suspected of stabbing a woman and 3 children outside of a school. An attack on furious riots leading an anti-immigrant protest in Dublin. Then it says, it explains, and it goes on and it goes on. Now, I want you to let me relate a little bit of the attack. The attack occurred in an Irish language primary school that is called Galscoil Colasty Mimhuri, shortly after 1 p.m. on Thursday on Parnell Square East in Dublin's North Inner City, in an area with a large number of low-income housing projects. Irish police, known as Gardaí, are still establishing if the attacker is mentally ill or if he was motivated by political or racial hate. Police Commissioner Drew Harris refused to rule out the possibility that the stabbing attack was a terror-related. The fact that the man attacked the school run through the Irish or Gaelic language helped fuel outpouring of rage that saw anti-immigrant riots, looting and arson in the hours that followed. Police struggled to contain the crowds who attacked them on the street and burned a hotel housing asylum seekers, as well as a tram and double-decker bus of a police car. I will put some video about that. But let me just tell you, do you know what the globalists, the leftists, the Marxists have done to the word immigrant? Do you know what they have done? It is because of them that now every immigrant, if I, me, Oscar Blue Ramirez, when I go to Panama, let's say, and if I say that I'm an immigrant and going over there, I'm going to be in so much trouble. If I'm walking between a country to another country, and if I'm saying, oh, I'm migrating, but hey, wait, I have my documents on me, but because of what the leftists, the Marxists, the organizations, the NGOs, the globalists, the false governments, the United Nations, what they have done, they have completely destroyed the word immigrant. Completely destroyed the word immigrant. Immigrant. It is a man or a woman or a child that migrates to another place for a better life. Or not necessarily that, but just in just in a nutshell, it's looking for a better life. And now, because of these open border policies, when you see the word immigrant, it immediately fumes the situation to make understand that he was illegal, that he was there illegally, that he was there crossing the border illegally doing this, illegally doing that. And it is not because of the left media, the right media. It is because of these globalist, leftist, Marxist organizations. It is them, nobody else. Remember when this was not a problem? This was not a problem years ago. But because of the power that these leftist mercenary organizations, they have on the word immigrant, now it has completely destroyed the significance of the word immigrant. And because of that, these kind of situations, they fume. They don't tell you the story about that. They're signalizing all these articles. They're saying all these extremists, these rioters against anti-immigrant, anti-this, anti-that. You're the one that created this problem with your open border policies. You're the one that created this chaos, basically damaging the word. You're the one. No, nobody else. Nobody else. Has to do with religion, has to do with, with identity, has to do with color. That's why on the post right here on this live feed, it says Tate against Morgan. Of Andrew Tate against Piers Morgan. And I will tell you, I was a follower of Andrew Tate. After this video that I'm about to show you, you will know why I am stopping following this man. I'm not used to be an admirer of him. For me, he's not a role model. Why he's not a role model? Because I don't think that he's a good role model. But I think that we needed these kind of men in our atmosphere, in our world, to bring the reality of just why men need to be men. And ultimately, now that he became part of a religion, all the things that he was talking about of how he's a man and men need to be men and man this, man that, they took away his manhood. Piers Morgan, that I don't like either, with the questions that he asked, he exposed him and took away his manhood. And I will explain why. And it has to do with all this open borders, all this idea of just being a part of a group, being a part of this leftist, being part of this, being part of that. Listen to this, another article that I will put right here. This is one article. This is one. This is another one. And I'm going to put some articles that all of them, they're not even focusing on what just happened. All of them, they're focusing only on what? Anti-immigrant riots. Look at this post. This article is written by AP Associated Press. Anti-immigrant riots in Ireland after 3 children allegedly stabbed. Allegedly, for God's sake. This is what happens. Why nobody's talking about the aggressor? Why nobody's talking about who's this guy? Because if they talk about who's this guy, they will fume the immigrant situation. And they have to regulate now borders. It is going to come down to what open borders is. They don't want to stop that. So all the articles that you will see right now coming out, Prime Minister Leo Varadkar said Ireland's capital had endured 2 attacks on innocent children and the other on our society and the rule of law. And then it says, the police number further, and then the riots, and it talk about the riots, and then the burning of buses. And you can see right here the picture, the workers of the Foot Locker, and la this and la that. Where's the aggressor, by the way? Arrests that are being done right here. Arrests on the protesters and the rioters. Why are they not talking about the aggressor? What's going on with that? That's not important. This is another article. Look how ridiculous the media is now, man. It has become to a point that every crime that is being done caused by open borders, it is being justified. I'm a migrant myself. I have said it multiple times. I am a pro-migrant myself. I believe that migration is a human right, but there's laws to do it. Not because of that, I'm going to deny that there's a problem with regulation of migration, and we need a filter, and we need people to be, entering so we know who it is and what conditions that they're coming, who is urgent to come immediately, who is not. Look at this next article by, man, who else? Look at this. Riots erupt in Dublin after young children are stabbed. Police blame the far-right agitators for starting violence after a small group of anti-immigrant protesters arrived to the scene of the stabbing attack and clash of police. Why are they not talking about the aggressor? Why? The transgender aggressor that basically did a shooting in the United States of America. How many media of the United States of America were talking about him? No, they were not talking about him. They were talking about the Christian imperialism, and they were talking about this, and they were talking about that, but not the aggressor. No, do not hit the aggressor, because you're going to hit the trans community. This is another article. I'm just posting articles so you can see. So you can see how ridiculous it is that nobody's talking about the aggressor. Dublin. This is a NUK article. Says Dublin. Anti-immigration riot erupts after children are stabbed. All right, I understand the riots are starting because children were stabbed. Okay, why they were stabbed? Can we show, please? This is did by Soraya Ibrahimi. And she talks about the Hiller delivery guy defending the girl, from being, there was a delivery guy that stopped the attack. I know that. Yeah, but where's the picture of the guy that stabbed the children? Where is he? No, it's hate crime. That is a hate crime. Look at this article. My God, look at this. A knife attack that injured 5 people, including 3 young children in Dublin on Thursday, has sparked anti-immigrant riots in the city center. Holy crap. Has sparked immigrant anti-riots. Why are we talking about the riot? Why are we not talking about what was the issue and what initiated this attack? The scene was still sealed off shortly before 6 p.m. when a group of 50 anti-immigrant protesters briefly broke through the police barrier. Some shouted, "Get him out," and kicked off of the wing before the police car. Hotel housing migrants was also attacked. The crowds began to disperse at 9 o'clock. Police would not comment on the nationality of the men in custody. Police Commissioner Drew Harris said all illness and inquiry related to the knife attack remain open. Nobody. Chaos. City center. Nobody talking about this. Nobody talking about who is the aggressor. Not to signalize because he's a migrant. Where I'm going is, this is where I'm going. Why? And the question is, why? We have allowed these globalists, these leftist Marxists, these white liberal imperialist leftists to destroy our word that has cost us so much suffering, so much work to be respected. That is the word migrant. Why? It's unbelievable what they have done. This is what open borders does. It creates the atmosphere to make you believe that every crime it is justified. And you will not answer with a straight question. You will not answer with a straight answer. I'm sorry. The question, you will not answer it straight. You will always go around to say it was justified because he did this. It was justified because he was oppressed for so many years, and it's just the racists and the imperialists and the conspiracy theories and the fear mongers and the creating hysterias and the xenophobic and the transphobic and the homophobics and the pronoun phobics and the fat phobics, and it is just so much phobia that he was so progressively pushed to do that. Now every crime that is aggressive, it is justified. No, it shouldn't be justified. What happened in the United States with the transgender murder, it should be addressed as a murder. He is a murderer. Why are we avoiding the conflict? Why are we neglecting the idea of a crime being a crime? Open borders will do this. Open borders will do this. Religion will do this. Being part of it's strongly a cult will do this. It will completely destroy your narrative. Completely. This is the and look, this is this. Let me just show you what Google will show if you put on the tab bar, on the search tab bar on Google. If you put right there, who was the man that stabbed the 5 children in Dublin? This is what comes out. Look at the title on the top. Who was the man that stabbed 5 children in Dublin, Ireland? That is how I wrote it. Let me just open it up, open up right there. Look at that. Who was the man? Really? I'm simply explaining. I want to know who was the man that stabbed 5 children in Dublin, Ireland, or 3 children. Look at all the outlet sources of news. Routers. We go by routers first. Riot erupts in Dublin after children are stabbed. BBC. Dublin riot seems clashes with police after 5 hurt in stabbings. Independent. Hero crèche worker stepped in to save the children during the Permill Square stabbing. Riots. Dublin. Sky News. Riots in Dublin after stabbing near school as police car and buses are being burned. You go down. YouTube. Police confirm 3 children attacked near primary school. AP News. Violent clashes break out Dublin after the knife attack. You go to Le Monde. FR. 3 children, among 5 in the hospital after Dublin stabbing. NBC. Riots erupt in Dublin after young children are stabbed. The Guardian. Violent protests in Dublin after women and children are injured. BBC. Dublin riots sees clashes with police after 5 hurt in stabbings. Al Jazeera. Violent protests in Dublin after children injured in a knife attack. WBMA. Riots swept Dublin after Irish children allegedly are stabbed. CNN. Of course. Violent crashes erupt in Dublin after stabbing of 5 people. They don't say children. They say people. Riots erupt in Dublin after children are stabbed. Riots in Dublin are stabbing near school as police car. Andulu and Hansi. Violent clashes erupt in Dublin and 5 injured in stabbing. The Irish Times. Gardaí conduct. Seize phone and laptop in suspect. Dublin stabbings, USA Today. Riots erupted. Children are hurt. The knife attacked. NDTV. Violent clashes in Dublin. For God's sake, I'm going on. I'm going and I'm going and I'm going. I can go the whole day. Look what I just put on the top. Who was the man that stabbed the 5 children in Dublin? Do you see who is the man? Do you see the name? Do you see who it is? No, because the crime will be justified. It goes back to open borders. Everything that is happening right now, every single somebody saying you cannot search like that, dummy. That's not Chat GPT. I'm just putting on top on the tab bar on Google. I'm just putting on the top. It's simple. If I go on Google, dummy, right here, Boot Bandit Warrior, if I put on the top, who are the best players in the history of basketball, it's going to appear right there. Michael Jordan, LeBron James, Kobe Bryant. It's simple. It's explainable. Right? I don't have to put who is the highest scorer in the history of basketball, the NBA. If I put who are the 5 top best quarterbacks in the NFL, they will appear right there on Google. I don't have to go and be particularly, oh my God, the academia says that I got to search like that. You have to be correctly precise with your research. Let me go ask Alexa. Alexa, who was the name of the, was it a man or a woman? Or how he was identified? Who is it? This right here is the problem. These kind of answers right here are the problem. Justifying every single, come on, brother, learn how to research. Come on. This is the problem. We don't know how to research. It is supposed to be simple. It's supposed to be easy. Why are we going around a problem? Why are we going around a topic? It should be right there. Huh? Right there, the face of the aggressor. Right there. It shouldn't be, let me just go and find. So let me be particularly precise. How do I do this? Let me just sit down and just, oh my God, how am I going to do this? Let me just type, am I Mexican or not? My God, how do I type that? For God's sake. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Nobody talking about who the aggressor is. Stop protecting the aggressor. When you write, people are laughing. When you write, you don't get it. When you write, you don't even know how to tap. You're justifying the aggressor. Justifying the aggressor because you're getting your ass kicked because you don't want to talk about the aggressor. Because you don't want to talk about who did it. Because it doesn't fit your damn narrative. It don't fit it. And I'm using your leftist platform that is Google. Simple. Who is the man who It's supposed to be there. It is a crime that is all around the world. Now, where am I going? These are the videos right now of the. We don't even know that you can go on the tab search bar in Google, and we don't even know who that man that caused this. No. You know, hold on. There's a comment. There's a couple of comments, you know, that they're right here on the live feed. They're saying, oh, you don't even know how to search. So if we don't even know how to search, we should know who was the man that did this crime, right? So these people that this is that are real happening right now. We don't even know who the man is. They're just doing it because these young kids were stabbed, but we don't even know who the man is. We don't even know. So I just went to the tab bar on Google just for everybody to see. And I gave you guys all articles from different networks. If you were just arriving, just go to all the, rewind the video, and you will understand what I was referencing to and where or why I was going through this. Now, why I bring the Andrew Tate and Piers Morgan. I want to put this video right here, and it is all tied up together to understand that every crime, it is justified. That is what they're trying to do right now in Dublin. They're trying to justify this crime. Every crime, they're trying to find a justification. Oh my God, the transgender that assassinated people. Oh, he was oppressed and my God. He was, the Christian imperialism. And this is a really interesting interview. It just happened. It is all over the place. And I want to put this particular part right here. It is Andrew Tate being interviewed by Piers Morgan. Couple of people, Piers Morgan, I do not like him. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I do not like him at all. Sometimes he's fruity. Sometimes he just wants to pander. It's kind of like a propaganda guy. Andrew Tate has become a public figure of being a man. And he has completely said this, man should be man. We not should be indoctrinated. I'm not Bax. I'm not this. I'm not that. He's like the manly man. Man should demonstrate. Man should this. And, we started following him because of his enormous statements and his boldness to come out and say, we need man. We need, the way that he addresses women. Women should be respected. We should be treated. But this is what they la. So he was all over the place, right? All over the place. I started becoming a follower of him, not an admirer. He's not a role model to me. Why? Because the guy, his background is almost, he's a former kickboxer, former professional fighter. He's coming out of a rough neighborhood. So I know how that feels. I'm a former professional boxer. I came out of a rough neighborhood, a really rough and bad neighborhood. So I know where he's going, and I know his points. I know, oh, he's saying this because of this. He's saying this because he felt this. He's saying this because of that. Just recently, and I'm talking about recently, Andrew Tate converted to be in Islam. He converted to Islam. He converted to being a Muslim. And he always talked about that nobody will control him, that no entity will control him. Then when you are being controlled, talking about as a man, your manhood, it is being taken away by the system. And he has said this multiple times. Multiple times. He has said this multiple times. This is what happens when you just realize that your manhood has been taken over. Andrew Tate's manhood, the manhood that so much he talked about, that posture that be against the system and this and this and that, He lost all credibility and all respect, and he just recently got exposed. Now, why am I saying this? It's real easy. And after he finishes this 3 to 4 minute video, I will completely answer in comparison to what I feel, comparison to what I think, that every crime now, it is being justified with open borders, with these globalists, with wars. Every crime is being justified by a feeling, by a sense that you got some justification to go and assassinate somebody because this happened 75 years ago. It's already justified, and this is part of the identity that is being derived and is being derived all over the place. And it's being spread all over the place. Sadly, this man got exposed by Piers Morgan. He asked him one simple question. And he did not answer. Why? And I will tell you why before I go to that. Because now he's part of a group. He's part of a religion. And when you are part of a group or a religion or a cult, you cannot go against your own people. The man that preached so much about standing alone, about being a one man, about, you need to represent yourself, you need to be just a strong man. Now he cannot admit the truth, because if he admits the truth, he will go against his own group. He will go against his own religion. He will go against his own people. It's like me being a Christian, and if I was asked, or a Catholic, what the Vatican has done of hiding and hiding the posture of priests abusing children, is it wrong or is it right, Oscar? And I will be like, well, hold on. Let me explain to you something. The conduct of priests have been, completely disrupted because of the mental necessity. They said, no. It's a simple question. Is it wrong or is it right? By me avoiding a simple question that it has to do with a crime, it means that I am part of that problem. Him now is part of the problem. Listen to this interview. And this is why I wanted to put it. Because now every single crime that is done by Marxists, by leftists, by open borders, by globalists, now it is just justified with an excuse. It is justified. Everything it is justified. And it is about to be, you do a crime, you pay the time. It is simple as that. Listen to this.
I'll answer the question professionally. I do not condone the loss of human life on either side. I think anybody doing anything which directly damages civilians is disgusting and abhorrent. However, I would be an amateur if I could not sit and pretend I do not understand the motivations behind either side. This is not even me taking a side. I understand why Israel is doing what it's doing. I understand why Palestine is doing what it is doing. However, I still call the Israeli actions absolutely abhorrent and genocidal.
Okay, we're going to come to Israel's actions. I promise you. We will ask that question specifically. But in terms of what Hamas did on October the 7th, do you accept that was an act of terrorism?
It's an interesting question because
once again, really.
It is.
It's a very straightforward question.
Because you're the person who would have called Nelson Mandela a terrorist while he was still in jail, and one person's terrorist is another person's freedom fighter.
I wouldn't.
For me to answer the question, yes, you would have. For me to answer the question, I have to be very professional, Pierce. For me to sit on the outside in Romania with no personal involvement in Israel-Palestine, it's easy for me to say, yes, it was an act of terror. However, if I was in Gaza, if I was in an open-air prison, if my family had been annihilated by bombs from the sky, if everybody I knew had suffered the loss of a loved one, if I had no chance of any kind of freedom or democracy or standard of life, would I believe it was an act of terror, or would I believe it's an act of resistance against oppression? You have to be very careful how you answer these questions.
So what do you think?
I think I understand what happens when you take people and put them in such an inhumane condition. For anybody to sit and say that you're going to take people and put them...
Now, let me just tell you, look at the way he's aggressively now losing control of himself because he is being put in a really uncomfortable position. Look what he just said. He said something that is completely out of this world. He started comparing what Israel did. Immediately he said about what Israel did, what Israel did. And what Israel did, you're talking about me taking this, taking that, la this, la this, la that. It is exactly like I will compare it. Now, because he's part of a religion that I will say, I respect Islam. I respect the people that believe in Muslim. I'm all about freedom of religion. And Islam is the second biggest, largest religion in the world. I will tell you like it is. But now, let me tell you something. If it's exactly, he's being part of a group. He's defending the group. Now he's not that strong of a just expressing himself and saying this is the truth. Yes, what they did is wrong. What they did was a terrorist attack. He's not, Piers Morgan is not talking about before the 7th of October, after the 7th of October. He's talking about the 7th of October, what Hamas did. And these ideas of justifying horrible crimes are the same ones that are damaging the word migrant, same ones that they want open borders, same ones that they're looking for justifications to just deny the fact that this was a horrible crime. It's like me saying, oh, you know what? A hypothetical example, you got Juan over there, that Juan's family, it is part of a cartel. And you ask Juan, in Mexico, hey, Juan, the cartel, is it a terrorist organization? And Juan is going to tell you, no, it's not. Are you going to tell me that they're a terrorist organization, these people that they haven't been provided education since they were young? So because they were not provided education, they were young and the utensils to go further and to be forward in life, they had to rely on going over there and surviving and cultivating cocaine. And then after that, being part of a cartel and being a sicario. Are you telling me that they're terrorists because they were raised in a bad neighborhood and now they're doing those crimes? Are you telling me that? Or if you're telling me that, that is justified. Look at this. It is exactly the same. Now he's protecting a group. He's not a one-man standing. All the manhood that he used to talk about, he completely lost it. Because he cannot say the word, yes, they are a terrorist organization. What they did on the 7th of October, it was a terrorist organization. It was a terrorist attack.
In absolutely inhumane conditions and give them no standard of life, and they're not allowed to ever fight back, or they are terrorists.
But I can agree with you.
Anyone who does that is an amateur.
I can agree with you that the plight of the Palestinians for many decades has been absolutely shameful.
So what did we think was going to happen, Pierce?
No, nothing.
Hold on. Now we're talking about territory, right? Now we're talking about territory. Let me just do a really incompetent comparison. Let me just do really incompetent comparison. The United States took away 8 states from Mexico back in the day. Took away California, took away Arizona, took away Texas. Is that a justification of people on the other side of the border to go in and do something horrible to the other country? I'm just saying, imagine Guatemala doing exactly the same thing to Mexico. This is a really stupid, possibly really stupid comparison because it's different. The people of Gaza are suffering for food, electricity. They're being controlled, la this, la that. But it's going. It's going. And somebody's saying that is a bad comparison. No, it's not. No. No. It is a reality. Well, let's go back in history and nobody get their feelings hurt. It is a reality. United States took away 8 states from Mexico. It's a reality. Don't run away from truth. Don't be an Andrew Tate. So it is part of trying to understand how you will justify crimes. How will you justify a situation where he is being put right now uncontrollably? And because he was put there, he's defending everything that he stood against of. Everything. Look how this goes. And then it goes to a place that this is where do you remember? Let me just go before I put the video and before it goes on. Do you remember the time that Mayorkas was questioned by Ted Cruz? Just recently. And Ted Cruz was consistently asking really simple question. Do we have a border crisis? And then immediately Alejandro Mayorkas said, Senator, we are doing exactly, no. It's a yes or no answer. Secretary, it's a yes or no answer. Do we have a border crisis? Senator, do we, okay, you're not going to answer. You're going to filibuster every answer, la, this. Okay, is there trafficking of children at the border? Senator, we have done, no. Is this a yes or no answer? Senator, we are trying, protecting the crimes and protecting what is wrong. Justifying crimes and justifying what is wrong. Exactly what the press is doing right now. If you go to Google, it's somebody that's saying it's dummy how you put the research. It will be a dummy if you don't even find the man that did this crimes. Why this man is not exposed? So listen to this last part. This is what I'm talking about. This last part where he's being asked consistently the same question and he doesn't answer. Why he doesn't answer? Because now he is part of a group. He is part of a group that he cannot go against of. He thinks that he's part of a religion, he's part of a belief. No, you are part of a group, man. Now, your manhood, all of those things that you stood and you're like, oh, yeah. They took it away. They took away your little things that are standing in the middle. Because if you go against it, you know that you will fall.
Nothing justifies what happened on October 7th.
So what are they supposed to do?
Nothing.
So what are they supposed to do?
That was an act of medieval barbaric terrorism. Nothing justifies it.
Did they suffer acts of medieval? Did they suffer acts of medieval barbaric terrorism before that date? Yes. And it's unfortunately an eye for an eye in this world.
Tell me,
I'm not condoning. I'm being a professional and answering
give
to
me
you
one
why
example.
It happened.
Give me one example of where Israel, without any provocation, went into a specific question, went into Gaza and massacred 1,500 innocent people, cutting their heads off, taping and boasting about what they'd done back to their families in Israel, kidnapping Holocaust survivors, bringing them, they wouldn't, of course, done that in their case, kidnapping old grandmothers and bringing them back to Israel, kidnapping babies, kidnapping children. When has Israel actually gone in and done something of the scale of October the 7th?
There's literally endless examples of that.
Give me one.
In 2014, they were bombing civilians.
You know
what, Pierce, let me tell you something.
I'm not talking about what they would categorize as retaliation for rocket strikes. And there's an arguable point.
Not an
as
answer,
there is, for example, I'm vehemently
He's asking you a straight question.
Settlements on
My
the West
God,
Bank.
man.
I think there are legitimate questions questions.
Come
about
on, come on, Tate. Come on, somebody's saying, Oscar, why you care about Tate? I care about his actions. This is a man that he is being asked about a crime. This is a man like I am being if I was asked about a crime being done in the Vatican by a priest. I will say that's horrible. Cut it. That's horrible. About a pastor stealing money from a church. Yes, horrible. And if he's being asked if Hamas is a terrorist organization, and if there was a terrorist attack, why the answer is not being given? When he's about the truth, he's about exposing, he's about not being controlled. I'm an unbacked guy. Open borders again. Let me go back. Open borders. The pandering consistently of, oh my God, it's because it's the bad atmosphere where they're coming from. We know. I'm a pro-migrant myself. I know the background. I have walked with thousands of migrants. I have been in the Darien jungle 3 times walking in there. I know of the struggles. But that does not justify when you commit a crime. A crime, it is a crime. And this goes to this topic that is a world topic right now. This crime by this man that used to stand for like the truth and being a man, and I have them right here, me cuelgan, cabrón. This man is not me cuelgan, cabrón anymore. They're not hanging in there anymore. They're hiding. And why they're hiding? Because he needs to protect himself. Look at the last part of this interview. This is where I wanted to go. This is the last part of the interview. And it is so unbelievable that a lot of these people, that they are being asked a simple question. My God, like the example that I just put, and I will put it again as soon as this clip is finished.
Proportionality of Israel's response here.
Yeah,
but in terms of what Hamas perpetrated on October the 7th, there is no instance of Israel doing that to the people of Gaza. And you have to accept that. If you don't accept that, you're either deluded or you're deliberately not wanting to say the obvious, which is that was an act of terrorism, because you're concerned about upsetting people in Palestine. Is that the case?
Let me go back to my first point when I said you're peddling asininities. The reason I said that is because to look at a situation, no matter how heinous, and to ignore all of the context and pretend that you do not understand why said situation happened
nothing justifies terrorism on that scale. Nothing
is asinine.
No, it's not.
Because it's not about justification.
Let me tell you why.
It's not about justification.
Let me tell you.
It's about understanding the realities of the world.
Let me tell you the reality of the world. Hamas came to power in 2005. Hamas's initial founding charter made it clear that they are for the eradication of Israel. And on October the 7th, they proved what that means is they will kill every Jew they can get their hands on. They are an existential threat to people in Israel and to Jewish people. And that is, I'm afraid, the purest persona.
Why he's not interrupting? Look at his face. Why he's not interrupting? Because he knows. Now, this is the last part. He knows what he's talking about is the truth, and he's being hit in the face with the truth.
And that is, I'm afraid, the purest personification of a terror group. I also think by doing what they did, as they have done since 2005, they weren't representing innocent Palestinian people in Gaza.
Who are suffering now.
They knew, yes, but Hamas knew when they did what they did that Israel would respond the way they did and that thousands of innocent Palestinians would get killed. They knew that, and they still did it. So my question for you is, why can't you, which is my position on this, is very straightforward. What Hamas did was an act of terror, an absolutely despicable act of terror, and should be called exactly what it is. And they are now demonstrably a terrorist group. That is why they were rightly prescribed that by the UK and America and other countries. And to try and pretend they're not makes you sound like Jeremy Corbyn. I can't think of a worse insult to throw at you, right? So
I don't think me and Corbett agree on
but
that.
I also think there are legitimate questions to come about the way Israel's responded. We can come to that. But I just want to ask you one more time. Is what Hamas did on October the 7th an act of terrorism?
I think, Pierce, it is peddling asinities for you to pretend that enslaving
So you sound
people...
like Jeremy Corbyn.
No, let me answer the question.
15 times he refused to answer the question.
Let me answer the question.
You're now up
I'm
to
not
about,
refusing.
You're now
If you
about
look-
3 or 4.
If you look,
Are they a terror group or not?
they're one team's freedom fighter and they're deemed a terrorist
What do
group.
you think?
I think that if you lock people in an open air prison and steal their land, they're going to retaliate.
So they're not a terror group.
I think they're going to retaliate.
They're not a terror group.
One team's terrorist is another
Okay, we're
team's
now up
freedom
to about
fighter.
8. Are they a terror group?
And also, another thing I want to make clear to you, Pierce.
Only Jeremy Corbyn has done this.
Done what?
Refused to answer the question.
I think that what they are doing is seemingly deemed an act of terror by the people that the terror...
Don't use weaselly words.
They're not weaselly. Of course, the Israelis think they're a terror group, and of course, the Palestinians think they're freedom fighters. It's stupid that you're asking the question.
Most of the
it's clear.
civilized world thinks they're a terror group who committed an act of terrorism. It's not difficult. What they did was an act of terrorism.
And I think that if Israel continues to
I'm gonna
conduct
come-
acts of
I'm going
terrorism
to
on the Palestinian people, they're going to do nothing but strengthen the reaction.
Well, that's a different conversation I'm about to have with you about Israel's response. But before I get there, one more time, is Hamas a terror group who committed an act of terrorism?
I think that when you lock people in an open air prison, you're going to have to
you're not
expect
going to
a
answer.
retaliation.
You're not
No,
gonna
because
answer.
I have to.
Embarrassing. Embarrassing. This is this is the problem. This is the problem. The problem is that now, and I just put an example on how organizations, global organizations, particular groups that you pretend to be a part of, the friend groups, you know, I want to be part of the team. Yay, high five. When you are part of this, they will control you. And they will make you understand that a horrible crime like they did over there, like they did in Dublin, like the crimes that Alejandro Mayorkas is doing to migrants, the crimes that Joe Biden is doing to migrants, also the crimes that Nicolás Maduro is doing to Venezuelans, also the crimes that Díaz-Canel is doing to Cubans, also the crimes that Ortega is doing to people from Nicaragua, also the crimes that are happening at the Mexico and the United States border. All those crimes, according to these kind of globalist, leftist, Marxist ideals, they can be easily justified by saying they are retaliating. We are retaliating. We are defending ourselves. So imagine just another border guy on the other side of of Mexico, just having a bad day, saying, you know what? I don't think that was my land. That was my land, man. If I was in the part, let's say I was in Arizona, and you have another, you know, Latino on the other side, and he's in Sonora, and he's mad because, you know, on the other side they're having a great life. That's Arizona, that's the United States. And he's like, you know what, man, I'm upset. I'm just going to go over there and just do whatever the hell I want, and goes and commits crimes. But then it will be justified. It will be justified because the leftists will come in and they will say, well, that land used to come from Mexico, and it is justified that all these crimes are being in. What will happen with all the time that Mexico has been oppressed because of the American imperialism and the American corporations and and this and that. So it is justified for you to just go over there and do a massive shooting. Evil, murder, attacks of terror are not justified. Evil, murder, rape, trafficking of children, trafficking of women, aggression, It is not justified. Those crimes, they do not have a political party. They do not have a religion. Those crimes are against God himself, the creator, the great architect of the universe, whatever you want to call it. Those are crimes against humanity. They do not have a political party. They're not Democrat. They're not Republican. They're not, oh my God, he's illegal. Oh my God, he's legal. We want legal migration. We want illegal. They're not part of that. All those crimes, they do not have a hat. They are crimes. And they are being pandered. And they're being softened for you to believe that a crime is justified. It's exactly what they have done to the word migrant. They have completely destroyed it to make us believe that all migrants, they're walking illegally on every border. They're not. You have thousands in Mexico doing a process of a visa. You have thousands of Mexicans, braceros, waiting for a visa to go work on a farmland in the United States. You got thousands that they're waiting on process to get their passport sealed. Nobody, not every migrant does things wrong or out of necessity. They're butchering what we represent. This is the imperialist leftists. This is the Marxists. This is not the extreme right-wingers. This is not the extremists or the language that they use. Again, I'm going to use it because if you're coming in and if you use this language, you're part of the damn problem. Fear-monger, creating hysteria, conspiracy theories, white supremacy, white imperialism. Oh, my God. What xenophobic, transphobic, homophobic, pronoun-phobic, fat-phobic, racist, fascist, narcissist, bigot, Zionist. You're part of the problem if you use it. Because of those kind of languages, you're justifying crimes. It has been done. And those type of organizations, they're the ones that they're justifying this. Right here. Andrew Tate, man, I used to follow you, man. Whew. Se te perdieron los huevillos. That's the way. Se te perdieron los huevillos. And you're just, that's it. We know now that if they put you in an uncomfortable position, you will not say the truth because you have to protect yourself. Go into the Dublin situation, and it's exactly what happened to the United States, a copy-paste of what happened in the United States. Everything. The media, how it manipulates the news. And people coming in, you don't know how to search. That's not the way you search on Google, Oscar. You're supposed to write perfectly who is who. And can you give me the particulars of who it was the stabber or the aggressor or the possible alleged aggressor of the stabbings of children? Protecting crimes. Jesus. How's everybody doing? I'm Oscar Blue for Real America's Voice News. Thank you so much for joining in. We will be traveling soon. We will be traveling soon. There's a special event that I am basically going to go and to a special event. And I want to say thank you to all of you for your undeniable support. We are going to go and receive an award and for our work that we have done in the Darien, documenting the atrocities that migrants go through in the middle of the Darien. And ultimately, also, we are being honored and with an award for our work that we did on Israel and the work that we have been doing, consistently this past year. This year has been a blessing, man. I cannot say the least. This year has been a blessing. God has been really good to me. The Virgin Maria, Virgen Maria de Guadalupe, they have been, my God, man, really good. I cannot complain. I cannot complain at all. And because of our hard work and your enormous support, we have overcome a lot of obstacles in our career. And, all these obstacles, they have been strong. Our life hasn't been easy, man. My life was not easy. I was not raised raised normal, but in a really rough neighborhood. Really rough neighborhood. And to come out of the rough neighborhood, and basically do what we are doing, it's really, for me, it's gratifying for me. For me, it's gratifying. But ultimately, I want to say to all of you, thank you. Before I leave, 1 hour and 6 minutes. I know that I'm extending, but I want to say thank you to all of you, to all of our followers, to all of our friends, to all of our angels that always supported me. To my manager, to our network, Real America's Boys News, my brother, Ben Berquam, Matthew Tomlin, my mentor, Chuck Holton, to all of you, thank you. I could not do this alone. So we're going to receive an award on our the work that we have done on the Darien, and it is it's going to be, something that I'm extremely gratified. Of course, we got to send a message of, we have to be more humane with each other. We have to have more empathy. We have to have more heart with each other. We need to understand the humanitarian crisis that is happening. Of course, the United States is not the solution for the world, but we need to understand what is happening outside the box, and also understand the problems that we're having inside. Why all of this is happening. Thank you so much for everybody to be joining in. I have to go and do a lot of kind of stuff, a lot of different stuff right now. So, man, just to remember, man, started with the phone. Well, I started my broadcasting career back in 2012, doing radio, doing boxing shows, and broadcasting fights. But when I started immigration, man, it's I remember it started with a Motorola phone, man, and the radio station sent me over there, and I didn't want to go. I was like, no, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that, man. Why should I do it? No, we don't have anybody. Can you go? And I'm like, no, I don't want to do it, man. I don't want to do it. And first I didn't start recording. I was just going over there and looking, and then like, oh, okay, this is what has happened. I'll mention it on the radio. And it's like, can you do it? I'm like, I have a beat up phone, man. Like, I don't think that it's going to be, look good. One thing led to another, and look. God's plan is our mission. Thank you so much for everybody for joining in. Thank you, and thank you. God bless you all. Stay safe. I hope that you enjoyed the show. There's a link right there on the bottom. This is called Buy Me a Coffee. If you guys like to contribute for Independent Reporting and Travel Fund, it will be, it will be great if you guys want to, contribute to our travel fund. Also, Eduardo Verástegui is here in Tijuana. I really wanted to go and see him, but I'm not feeling well. So, sometimes you want to go out, sometimes you don't want to go out. And I was not feeling today of going out. There will be a lot of occasions that I can support the man. He is a conservative Catholic, that he stands for freedom, and he's running for president. He's young and he has a lot of energy. But fortunately, in our country, it is not the same as other countries to run as a president. There's a lot of corruption. There's a lot of corruption, and there's a lot of corruption, and it is controlled by networks. And it's really difficult to run against an animal, man. So hopefully he will have a good run. And hopefully later on I can join him and interview him and support him in whatever way it's possible. I think that he is the only candidate out of the three that has the possibilities of speaking on stopping trafficking and a lot of stuff. I want to hear him speaking on some other topics, like, you know, the economy, also the necessity of you know, a revolution in, you know, electricity in our country, and the system of education, and you know, the old people and the young people. How is he going to do that? I want to hear him speak about that, because I have heard him, you know, speak about the trafficking and the abuse and all that kind of stuff. But, you know, we know that we have that problem, but we have other huge problems, you know, that we need to also address. So, you know, that's where I want to hear him. Where I want to hear him is there. I don't want the trafficking stuff. I already know his agenda. I already know he did a movie. I already know this. I already know that. I already know that. I know. What I want to hear is you address these other issues. Education. How are you gonna boost the economy? What are you gonna do? You're gonna help, you know, fight the environment. What are you going to do? So we don't know if we don't ask. We don't know if we don't approach. So hopefully I will have, you know, a next visit, and I can go and visit him and interview him later on. God bless you all. Stay safe. Thank you so much for joining this evening. Extremely disappointed on Andrew Tate. Extremely disappointed. Extremely disappointed. You know, it happens when you get into a place where you're managed by somebody, and that's the way he is now. Stay safe, and like we always say, God's plan is our mission.
We're here with at CPAC Mexico with the president of mis amigos migrantes, pues aquí estoy.
Total catastrophe, and it is a crisis.
of a child right there. All these NGOs, you're fake. It is this, the crisis of children.